on this episode of Podigious.
No! They feed you! They make food! You don't eat the burger man! That's rude!
Because Digimon.
Give them the old beazzle dazzle.
Password! You can use mine to get on the internet!
Podigious! Welcome to Podigious, episode 310.5, Absolute Feedback Apocalypse.
Digital World Part 4 Feedback.
Recorded August 21st, 2016.
Podigious is your critically nostalgic, analytical tour through the Digimon anime. I'm Jeff Ruberg, and I'm joined by my fellow Diginomes, Ashley McDonald.
I'm having deja vu right now. What's up?
But no one's going to understand, Ashley.
I don't care.
They'll be hearing this one weeks in advance.
Yep, it's going to be great.
And I'm joined by my fellow Diginomes, Ashley McDonald.
No, I'm keeping it.
And I'm joined by my fellow Diginomes, Ashley McDonald. Ashley, here's where you can say, I'm feeling deja vu, and it would make sense.
Oh.
I'm joined by my fellow Diginomes, Ashley McDonald.
I'm feeling deja vu, Jeffrey.
Asher Softman.
I didn't need you to say it 4 times, though.
Asher Softman. Asher Softman.
Oh, we are so on the ball today, guys. It's great. Good hustle.
Asher Softman. Oh, wait, was that your actual thing? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Andrew Softman.
I'm secretly a D-Reaper agent.
Which number?
100. I don't know.
And finally, Robotmon.
Yo boy eyes.
What?
What?
I wrote Yo Boys, and it did not... Wait, let me try that again.
Yo boys.
It's a little better.
Yeah, that was great.
Wait, Robotmon's back?
I recast their gender. They used to present female, but now they present male. Because I figured it'd be more fun to make fun of them.
Wait, when was the last time I did this?
I don't think it's been that long.
Well, you do skip out on us a lot, Andrew.
Mainly the feedback ones.
Okay, now time for...
Digimon news.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, first bit of news, we have casting announcement for Charge Chapter 3. Hackmon has been cast. I don't recognize the other things they've been in. Apparently, he's known as a producer in an Idolmaster series. Anyway, I don't think it really matters who.
Oh, really?
But anyway, the point is that it means Hackmon's going to be talking, supposedly, so that's a thing.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, Hackmon.
Wait, which Idolmaster? Because there's two.
Idolmaster Cinderella Girls. But he was a producer.
God.
But like, what is it? What's like? And what?
He's basically their agent, and he does all the scheduling and stuff for the
wait,
girls.
sorry. Okay, sorry. He is the voice of the producer in the show that is about.
Yes.
Okay, I thought it meant he was a producer for the anime. And I was like,
no.
Why does it matter? Like, why does it matter if he was a producer for an anime and is now a voice actor?
No, he is the character producer because the producers in Idolmaster are just called producer. They don't have real names. Because in the games, you are usually the producer.
Okay. But yeah, so that's exciting because that means maybe Hackmon will talk and whatever. The other big thing in the news landscape, which is almost enough to warrant, I really heavily considered doing some kind of spoiler cast talking about it, is there was an issue of Animedia, Japanese anime-focused magazine that was pretty heavily focused on Digimon. The front cover is the Digimon Tri artwork for Chapter 3. The back cover is Atmon stuff, and there's a bunch of interviews and other content about Digimon inside of it. We'll be having 2 copies, I think, in the Tri giveaway, the next giveaway we do, as well as a clear file folder that came with the artwork of the front cover and back cover. Anyway, included in the magazine was an interview with, I don't know who it's, an interview with the staff of Tri. I don't think they specify who in the staff, but anyway. And it's a bunch of questions about general Tri story stuff. I'm not going to go into specifics here because it is pretty spoilery to some sense. But we'll have a link to it, to the translation. And the main takeaway for me is just that, like, there are a lot of things that's revealed that they had been thinking about, and they've thought through logical consequences, which I did not trust them to have thought through before. There are a lot of things that seemed like big holes that I assumed they were just like, just don't think about that. Like, we can't, wrap up everything. We can't tie everything neatly into a bow. But at least according to this, they haven't said those things are blah, 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 whatever, but they've clearly thought about them in a way that I didn't expect them to. So I'm excited. Renewed excitement for Try.
Stop doing that, Jeff. Stop having expectations.
I mean, okay, I have renewed excitement for the Try, the entire project, not for Chapter 3 specifically.
Right. But like, stop being excited. just don't have feelings.
Become Robotman.
Did anyone else have reactions to this interview? To the Animedia interview?
No.
No, I didn't read it. How can I
Yeah,
have
really.
reactions?
Okay. I mean, if you were interested in seeing, it's not too spoilery. It's not like this is what's going to happen, but there are things that are like, oh, well, that kind of. There are things I think are a little bit more immediate and obvious conclusions given a bit of extra information in this. But yeah. So, yeah. The third bit of news is that Digimon Adventure Try is going to be featured in the next anime Lootcrate. And yeah, I mean, we hesitated a little bit about featuring this because I don't really, buy into the whole Lootcrate subscription box service kind of thing. So this isn't like an endorsement or a sponsorship or anything like that. This is just people might be interested in it because Digimon is in it. The other stuff in it is actually pretty cool. There's so in addition to Digimon Adventure Try, there's Danganronpa stuff, Fruits Basket stuff, Utena stuff. And by stuff, I mean there's one item of each of those.
Revolutionary Girl Utena.
I just said Utena, didn't I?
No.
Maybe it's hard.
You did.
I did, but it was hard to understand me because I don't speak in words.
We noticed.
I speak in ideas.
Oh, is that what you speak in?
That's the most bro-y tech thing I've ever heard you say.
But anyway, yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up for this. I have subscribed to just get this one box, and I will.
You did? Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I might. I'll probably unsubscribe after that. You can subscribe, get the first box, and then unsubscribe after that, and just pay for the 1 month, which is still pretty. It's like $30, I think, for the one box, and you can get a discount if you have a Crunchyroll premium subscription membership or whatever. But
Whatever.
yeah, the date you can order until is August 28th at 9 p.m., which this episode should come out on the 23rd, so there are a couple of days if you're hearing that. You're hearing this before then. So yeah, I mean, I don't really buy into the Lootcrate thing because it just seems like the stuff you get, like occasionally is really great and occasionally is just kind of junk. And, it is nice to get stuff that's themed around stuff you like, but I'm just not too interested in accumulating junk because I know I'm the type of person who will not want to get rid of it and actually get mad at me and everything. So,
And then I'll just get rid of it, and Jeff oops, too bad.
So I don't know, if you're the type of person who likes this kind of stuff, look out for it. If you're not, then I kind of have FOMO. I mean, that's what these things ride on, is FOMO. That's what they are based on. But I'm just like, oh, there's a Digimon thing.
They're based on what?
FOMO, fear of missing out. Wait, do you not know FOMO?
No, I've never heard this before.
You don't watch enough like young adult comedies, or not young,
I
like
don't know what it is
CW
either.
comedies. Wait, you don't know
What
FOMO?
the heck?
No.
What world do you people live in?
Can
in
we
the East
hang up
Coast?
now? Like,
I live on Crunchyroll.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, so FOMO is just fear of missing out. I mean,
Oh,
that's
I see.
So like I'm just like, there might be some cool Try-themed thing, but I'm like, is it going to be Japanese merchandise? Is it that we've already seen? Is it going to be, I mean, but also the thing that bothers me at Lootcrate is like the stuff they have is not the best stuff. It's usually like, I assume stuff that's left over and couldn't sell that well and they want to get rid of, or at least that there is that stuff in there as well. So I'm always like,
Clearly, it's unsold complete selection Digivices.
Oh yeah.
Clearly.
I mean, I think this is the one box that Jeff and I are like, okay, I guess we'll try it because each of us is interested. Like all of the things, there's at least one of us who is interested in it. So
yeah. So like if there were only one thing one property you're interested in, then it's like you're kind of pulling the lottery for that to be an interesting item from the property. But when there are 4 properties that we were interested in, it's like there'll probably be at least one cool thing for one of those 4 properties, and they're really good properties. There's some of our favorite, like Danganronpa and Try. I mean, Danganronpa is one of my favorite things. Fruits Basket and Utena are some of your favorite things, Ashley. So like, it's a pretty good selection.
yeah.
Persona, I think, would be one of my favorite things if I ever got to it. So now on to
iTunes reviews.
That was very well pronounced.
Of course it knows how to say iTunes.
I mean, I also slowed down the voice so it's understandable. So we have a new review from Shoutmon Special Secret, which is awesome because it's our first review from Japan. I'm excited about. Yeah. And now on to Transgarble reviews.
Senpai finally noticed us.
Senpai-kun, Senpai-sama.
I don't think that's how you do that. Senpai sama? No.
I don't think so either.
No.
But this first one, actually, okay, the first one is from Mezzy Bezzy in Australia. And the title was, Here We Go, a Great Podcast. Ash, can you read the body?
Absolutely. Funny hosts with great chemistry. This podcast is fantastic if you're new to Digimon, watched Digimon as a child, are a Digimon veteran, or even if you just want to know what Digimon is.
Thank you. It sounds sarcastic. That's very sweet.
I'm not convinced about this last part. Like, if you don't know what Digimon is, don't listen.
Yeah, I don't think you should listen.
But it's nice that you think.
Well, actually, no, I have had people, like, in my class, like, or I've had one person in my class listen to one of our episodes, and he enjoyed it, even though he didn't know what we were talking about.
All right, fine, you win.
I guess apparently we're amusing to people.
That seems like a weird relationship, like a teacher-student thing to, like,
no.
listen.
It was another student. But, like,
Oh, okay.
But I don't think he's listened to it after that. He was just curious about, like, what I do as a person outside of it. And he found out.
That you're a huge nerd.
I think he already knew that, seeing as I go to rabbinical school.
That's a different type of nerd.
Is it?
I think so.
Jew nerd.
Today I found out when the RRC role-playing club meets.
Oh
You're
boy.
enough people for a club?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a club. It's not an official club, but there are a group of people, students, who do Call of Cthulhu.
Cthulhu?
I don't know how
Just
to
say
pronounce
it called
it.
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's Cthulhu, I think.
Cthulhu.
Yeah.
That's what everyone says.
Cthulhu.
I
Wait,
never
Ash.
learned how to pronounce these things.
Ash,
What?
can you still not say the name that Itmon digivolves to?
Shut up.
I thought you said it before correctly, but maybe I'm
Beelzemon?
confused. Wait, no. Wait, Angie, what'd you say?
Beelzemon?
I think I was right.
Beelzemon?
No, Angie, you still put an A there. It's Beelzemon.
Beelzemon.
But I swear that's how they pronounce it in the dub.
Oh, maybe.
No, it's not.
Hey, Ash, Ash, try it again.
Shut. You know what? No.
No, I'm laughing
I
along
don't
with
have to
you,
take
not at
this.
you.
Oh, really? I don't have to take this.
Okay, let's find something else to laugh at. Here is the transgarbled title. The original title was Here We Go, Great Podcast. Now, transgarbled it is.
It is here a great podcast.
All right.
Okay.
A large army to chemistry.
What?
A lawn army? What?
A large army.
I think lawn would have been cooler.
Please refer to whether or not you want to know the new kids because Digimon are on a great podcast.
That's great.
This is an excellent review.
Digimon.
It simulates the evolution sequences when they're evolving about per episode, yeah.
Digimon.
Yeah, I think that's because, like, you know, the original sentence was like, if you're new to Digimon, if you watch Digimon as a kid, if you blah, blah, blah Digimon, if you blah, blah, blah Digimon, so they all just
Well, I can see how it happened.
Yeah, so the second review was from Skizzy14 in USA, and the title was, This Podcast is Mega Level for Sure. Ash, can you read the body again?
Yeah. This is my new favorite podcast. It manages to combine 3 of my favorite things: Digimon, humor, and gender topics.
Gender.
I recently rewatched Tamers, my fave season, on Netflix, and my Digi fandom was reborn. I soon stumbled upon this podcast on the Digimon Reddit. Now I'm currently rewatching Adventure and listening to the corresponding Podigious episodes as I go along. It's a blast! Definitely a great way to breathe new life into one of my childhood favorites. I'm excited that I have content to keep me busy for a while as I rewatch the show, and I can't wait for the podcast to start on Tamers.
Well.
Keep up the great work! Random side note. At first I thought Jeff was saying Asher's name, Atris Offman, at the beginning because he says it so fast. Eventually I looked it up. Just felt like sharing that.
Haha, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
That never got better.
Also, yeah, this review is from May of 2015, and a year and a half later, it's still bad.
It's still bad. But look, we got to Tamers. Yay, Tamers.
I think you've gotten worse.
I think so, too.
Oh. Well, we're glad you like this podcast despite the fact that nobody can understand what Jeff says.
Oh, boy, I feel so bad about that, but it's just so much to say. There's so much Digimon to
It's just so much Digimon to
Digimon.
think about.
It's always I don't know. Always, as someone who listens to a lot of podcasts, it always like really touches when people say that this is their favorite podcast. And I know that's because a lot of people don't listen to as many as I do, but like, just yeah.
That's because this is why Jeff talks so fast. Is because he listens to like 500 podcasts at 3x speed. It broke his brain. We're sorry.
3x is recent. Although I'm super behind on podcasts. Anyway, okay, so here's a Transgarble title. The original one was "This Podcast is Mega Level for Sure."
You don't not mega shoulder podcasting mistakes.
What? Shoulder podcasting mistakes? You don't not mega.
I mean, I don't not mega, actually.
I don't not
Where
mega.
did
Yeah,
shoulder come from?
I have no idea.
for sure. Like I don't.
I mean, once it goes back and forth between Klingon, and I think it's like well, I don't even know the linguistic history of Klingon. So, okay.
You are what I pray. His favorite podcasts.
This one, new voice is kind of creepy. Like,
Pray for that too.
Humor, favorites, Digimon, and the 3 topics, hard sex beast.
Hard sex.
Oh, we have to rate this episode M for mature.
Hard sex beast. Oh my god. That's amazing.
that came from Gender Topics. Like,
That's the new title of our podcast.
Hard sex beast.
Where did these come from?
I have no idea. Okay. We need to move on.
Digimon Tamers Netflix some of the new fave season until the undoubtedly rewatched Digifandom.
Okay.
Undoubtedly
Okay.
rewatched Digifan.
However, secret podcasts will soon help Digimon.
I like it.
Great Adventure Road, the rewatching the episodes.
Okay.
Okay.
Cannon Blast.
Cannon blast. It's an attack. Cannon blast.
That's hard, sexy Beastmon's.
Yeah. Hard sex beastmon.
Cannon
Cannon
blast.
blast.
I would be
You
so
know
much-
what I mean.
Oh no! I was gonna say I want people to draw fan art, but now I don't want people to draw fan art.
It would be so. Oh boy.
Oh, that came from "It's a Blast," by the way, to Cannon Blast, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
For make no mistake, my wonderful children who breathe new life into one.
So
That's really
it's the part
sweet.
where we call them daddy
We are-
or...
We are wonderful children.
Who
Hard
breathe
sex
new
beast.
life.
Into the
we
hard
should make
sex beast.
songs out of these.
Cannot display some of the Digimon Tamers podcasting content for watch happy and busy. The waiting begins.
That sounds accurate.
It's all nonsense until the waiting begins.
Yeah, that sounds accurate about us.
Yeah.
Their clothing is a great victory, and he was still comfortable.
How did I get that from keep up the great work? What? That doesn't make any sense. But their clothing is a great victory, I agree.
And it was still comfortable.
Whose clothing?
Doesn't matter.
So the punctuation for this last one was the random side note, and it started with like all in parentheses, and then Atris Softman in quotes. But like somehow in translation, it's like the punctuation's gotten all weird. Anyway.
My name is the name of one. Random, Jeff said, Atris Softman. Last time, sir. Only my mother touched.
Only my mother touched.
Oh!
Uh-huh.
Well, that was a sexy review.
My name is the name of one.
Only my mother touched.
Yep. Hard sex piece.
Oh boy.
Oh, so good.
That's what gender topics are. We should just call them hard sex beasts.
I know, we should
That would
rename that
like
segment.
revive our interest in talking about it, probably.
Well, we're going to move on to a new season now. That should revive some sort of interest.
Okay. Projected titles. Wait, sorry. We need our master of ceremony.
Rejected titles.
Okay, so we actually did fight about this one a lot, but it was funny. Here it is. Digiwatch Origins Edition, Angry Birdmons, Tengen Toppa Gurren Gargomon, Homeward Bound 2, Lost in Shinjuku, The Truthy Enemy, The Cataclysmic blah 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 blah. The Cataclysmic Catalyst, Noah's Tiny Ark, Destroy Your Destiny, Rafferner, rar rar rar.
You okay there,
Destroy
Ashley?
Your Destiny. Yeah, I'm good. Calamon Explains It All, Shine Theory, Destiny, The Taken Queen, Digiworld Edge, Catalyst. Your antivirus is out of date. Please upgrade today and destroy the digital world. evilnotdigimon.exe. An upgrade is available. Click here. Reap your own destiny. The new Grim Reaper. The real Grim Reaper. Will the real D-Reaper please stand up? The Grim Adventures of Rika and Henry, and Revolutionary Girl Rika. And as I remember correctly, we fought a lot about, we wanted it to be Revolutionary Girl Rika. And you were like, I want it to be a Utena reference, but it wasn't about Rika. And then we realized that Absolute Destiny Apocalypse was like absolutely perfect, and we're like, we're done. Why didn't we come with that before?
I still don't think it's that great of a fit, because it's like, if you look at these episodes, you don't even remember these episodes. So to call them the Absolute Destiny Apocalypse ones, it's like, yeah, they mention that there's going to be some disaster in the future, but it's not the ones about any disaster.
We weren't talking about the apocalypse. We were talking about all the destiny that was happening. Or that's what I thought we were talking about.
But also, just looking at the arc of the later ones we watched, there really wasn't that much in these episodes either.
I mean, it's also the one where they talk about the chaos the most.
But they also deal with it the least. I don't know. It also definitely didn't focus primarily on Rika, so
yeah,
as a revolutionary girl.
I mean, I disagree. But all right.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the poll results of the RDD. So first place was Asher's quote about sad girls.
I don't even remember this
I haven't
quote.
even started dating. I've got to deal with two sad girls. Once you start dating, I'm sure you'll make many girls sad. What?
That was good. I appreciate me on that one.
In second place was Ashley's quote about flying away.
She flew away? Are you kidding me? But how? You were supposed to be watching her. I was. I watched the whole thing. That's not what I meant, you big doofus.
Garjamon for the wins.
Garjamon is excellent. So glad we have him on the show.
It's true. He was the recurring theme through those. So, winning by hosts, Asher was first place, Ashley in second place, and me and Andrew tied with 1 point, I think. We were unpopular.
So sad.
So, the Podigious Fantasy Draft results, this is the thing where you can choose a team of a human and a Digimon and make your fantasy team before our episode comes out. So, and then you get points if we choose those characters out of our favorite characters. And we also, in this feedback episode, talk about our favorite teams and award extra points. So this is for episode 310, right? And the winners were Ashley and Andrew picked Rika, Asher picked Takado, and I picked Jerry. So some people got 2 points for picking Rika, and aside from that, we all picked humans, so it was either 2 points for Rika or 1 point for Takado, basically, because no one picked Jerry. Because you're all boring.
Or maybe you are just wrong.
Maybe you're wrong, yeah.
So now we are going to give points to what we decided are the most incongruous teams and the most desired teams. So we're looking through now. So, summary. Takado can either be with Ibanwumon, Kalumon, or Renamon. Rika can either be with Kalumon or Juchaumon. Suzie can be with Terrymon, or Shibumi can be with Azulangmon. I think my team I want the most is Shibumi and Azulangmon.
Yeah,
I agree. They both have that obnoxious know-it-all vibe going on.
Oh my god, yes.
So this team was from Homoneurotic, and they mentioned on Twitter when they said it that it was Team Exposition. It's totally true.
Team
That's
Exposition.
exactly what they are. That is exactly what they are.
That's all they exist for.
It's true. So y'all casting most desired for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew, what are you doing?
You agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's 4 points for them for that. Now most incongruous.
I feel like all of these were reaching for that, and none of them quite got a good one.
Suzie and Terrymon is not incongruous. I can rule that one out. That's just
I don't think that Rika and Kalumon is totally incongruous,
No.
given that Rika and her have a total affiliation.
And I don't think Takado and Kalumon is totally out of the question either. They interact a lot.
I guess Takado and Ibanwumon has to be the most.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
Yeah, it's
Did
like
they
that's
even
kind of what
talk?
we're left with.
I don't think so.
I don't think they talked.
I think that just makes it kind of... so we also have Ruki and Juchaumon, which could actually be really amazing.
They'd just be super fiery.
Yeah. Wait, I have a brief story about Ibamumon. When I guess as well, Tamers was airing, I was on this forum that I've mentioned a couple times. It was like a role-playing thing, and as part of it, there was like the game that you would play on a day-to-day basis. There was also this like plot line running through it. I don't know how much of this is like standard for RPG forum stuff, so I don't know like what's normal, what's weird, but there was this like overarching forum-wide story that would happen like in the general chat, I guess, and it would be like, big events happening. I guess kind of like in MMOs where, there's new content.
That's pretty normal for RP.
Okay, but like as part of that, there were people that from the forum that were chosen to be like to get a Digivice. There was a special Digivice from the show, and you basically like become a tamer. I think so. The thing I'm thinking of was that there was a storyline that was like you become a tamer of the sovereigns, and I was assigned Ibanumon, and I was just like so depressed because I was like, I got Ibanumon? Really?
I feel like I remember this somehow.
You wouldn't have. You couldn't have been there.
Been where?
This was a forum that I was on.
Oh, never mind then.
In 2001. But yeah, so I'm just like, I feel like Takata would feel the same way. It'd be like, I got Ibanumon? What? Like, that's the worst one. It's just a turtle. It's a giant turtle.
Hey, don't knock.
A two-headed turtle.
He's the one that has like the weird Irish accent, right?
Okay, wait. Everyone's mad at me, I'm sorry.
Don't knock Genbu.
Don't knock Genbu.
Is he the stolen beast?
Yeah. Andrew, nobody's gonna get that reference.
Good.
Hardly anyone's gonna get the Genbu Kaiden reference either.
Don't you hate on you, Watase?
It wasn't a Genbu Kaiden reference. It was a reference to the entire story that pre-exists.
Sorry.
So are we all going to Kato Ibanumon? Are we all going all
Yes.
Yeah, there weren't really many troll picks this time.
Yeah, where were you, Shawnee Mac? What's
Yeah.
up?
We need more trolls.
No, we don't.
Okay, so with that new tallying, Ember Moto got 4 more points. So now Ember Moto is in first place.
Cool.
Ooh.
Upstaging Rika is my favorite.
Oh, Rika is my favorite. Also didn't see the notification. See, this is what happens.
And so now it's first place Ember Moto, second place Rika is my favorite, and third place Homoneurotic, which I think, let me double check the spreadsheet. I think Homoneurotic started off pretty late in the game, so testament to how ahead you can get by
getting all 4 of us to agree with you.
Sucking up to us, I was going to say.
It's not really sucking up to us. It's pandering, but it's not sucking up.
Yeah, pandering, yeah. So, okay, their first one was 309. So, wait, that's not possible. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. The first one was 307.
Okay, that's more believable.
Yep.
I assume they answered Lotman or something.
And Telamon, you mean? Yeah, they did. They were the one person.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they weren't the one person, but they were one of the people who got in Telamon.
Yeah.
Oh, no. They totally took that, like, they totally blew that away because they picked Antilamon, and it was one that was, like, Antilamon plus them. So they got... Oh, yeah. So we got awarded a bunch of, I guess, desire points for that. Or I guess it was, like, themselves. So then we were like, yeah, ourselves, too. Anyway.
Yeah.
But there are also a bunch of people who are still like pretty close, even though they're not in the top 3.
Yep. Yeah, to enter the fantasy draft, we trying to think. The schedule for this has changed recently with trying to do weekly episodes. The way it works now is as soon as the episode. So this episode 310.5 is going up on Tuesday. Tomorrow, episode 311 comes out. So there isn't time if you're hearing this as soon as the episode goes up, you have a day to get in your fantasy draft picks for 311. But assuming you don't listen to this right away, probably have to enter 312 next. Anyway, on the sidebar of the site, we always have a link to what fantasy draft is open, what the link is to the forum posts. But in addition to that, we also will ask on social media a couple of days before just to get votes. So if you follow us on social media, you'll see, and also check on the website if you aren't sure. So now our question of the week voicemails, which last week our question, and it's finally actually going to be questions of the week. It'll actually make sense for once.
Okay.
Hopefully, if I keep on schedule. So the question was, who's more shoehorned in, Rio or the D-Reaper? And this first one is from May, and the title of the MP3 file, I can't actually read because it's too long. Wait, if I open it like this? Yeah, no. I think it's saying that they had to be quiet because Jay was sleeping. May and Jay are the co-hosts of Lost in Translation 1. Oh, and I didn't want to spoil much. I hope his snoring isn't recorded. .mp3. Okay, and... okay.
I think Rio is more shoehorned in because I feel like he was just in there to promote the Wonder Swan games, and otherwise I don't really feel like he fits. As for the final enemy, you kind of see it from the start that, the digital world is in danger. And yeah, so Rio just doesn't seem to fit because it's just, yes, let's show this kid who's in the Wonder Swan games. I
like how they acted out the end. That's how he is.
That's how we feel. That's how we all feel about Rio.
Yeah. And the second voicemail was from Allie. Here it is.
Rio's okay, but he's more annoying and Rika's boyfriend than anything else. But the D-Reaper did a lot more. If a group of people or someone of superiority says or does something or things that are basically bullying, you're more likely to believe it. She had just lost her Digimon, her parents couldn't pick her up, and now this? It's obvious she is going through some kind of depression. And I know because something similar happened to me. I'm not going into detail, but about 8 years ago when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, people bullied me into thinking that who I was bad. I believed it and was in depression till about 9 months ago. But unlike Jerry, I was able to hide it. Other people didn't know it. She was lucky to have a friend like Takato, who was, even after just reuniting with his family, willing to go on a 3-hour train ride, save her life, and even flat out say he cared about her. That shows real friendship.
First off, I'm really sorry to hear about that experience you went through, but I totally agree in how much it shows how Takato cared.
No, I'm glad that everybody agrees that Rio sucks.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a big deal.
I agree that the D-Reaper, what it does to Jerry, is a fairly accurate representation of depression. Which has its benefits over Rio, who does nothing. That garbage child.
Yeah, and also I guess in terms of the D-Reaper being shoehorned in, sure, we can argue on a plot mechanical basis, it does kind of come out of nowhere in terms of this thing that is affecting the digital world. They don't really talk about it beforehand, and they do. But the emotional arc, that actually does, that actually is set up really well. If we think of the D-Reaper not just as this thing to show in the digital world, but a thing that is given strength and form because of Jerry's suffering and pain and the very real situation she's in, that did have a lot of setup and lead in.
Mm-hmm.
We saw her glimpses of her family scenario. We saw her reacting to Leomon the first time around and her desperation to have a partner, and her sadness when Leomon walked away, and her happiness when they worked together. And so, I think it's actually really well set up. So I think that's why, even if we're oh yeah, this D-Reaper came out of nowhere, blah, 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 we're kind of frustrated with that. But I think on an emotional level, this story works really well. Yeah. And the last one was from Rika's My Favorite, and it was text. So we're going to have Robotmon read it.
I think both Rio and the D-Reaper were pretty shoehorned in, but since Rio is the only one who wears shoes, I think I have to go with him.
That is the most perfect answer I've ever heard. Thank you.
Fair logic.
No, but I actually vehemently disagree, because sure,
really?
Rio wears shoes, but the D-Reaper is actually a goop that you could shoehorn into your shoe with a shoehorn. So, you can't shoehorn a person into your shoes.
Yes, that's what a shoehorn is
that's what a shoehorn does, yeah.
Yeah, but he's already wearing the shoes, so he doesn't need it. But the D-Reaper does need to be put inside shoes.
No, I think I disagree with you.
I disagree with you. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I fall on this moral spectrum. Okay, so we have a couple general comments from Rika's My Favorite on the forums, and in general, the comments we got this week were pretty sparse because of the, rapid cycle. But in case you're wondering, in future, the plan is to release episodes on Wednesday and then record these feedback episodes on Sunday. So you have, whatever that is, 4 days to get feedback in. We hope more people do it in the future. But anyway, still got great comments. And I want to talk about a couple. These are from Rika's My Favorite. And Ash, can you read them, actually? Just the first paragraph first.
I wonder if the Devas even knew about the D-Reaper, as Lopmon seemed fairly uninformed about the situation, other than there being a true enemy. And maybe they come off as evil because their main motivation was to be the one that followed the boss's orders, get the promotion, etc.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Even the D-Reapers, not the D-Reapers, even the Sovereigns, when we first meet them, or whatever, they talk about how they've never had interaction with the D-Reaper. So if the Sovereigns don't even know what it is, it makes sense that the Devas might not know that it exists. And I also like the point of like, is the fact that their motivation is following orders, like, and getting promotion, like doing well by the orders they're being told and not questioning them, is that what makes them evil? Because I think there is truth to that like, instead of questioning why they're attacking this world and like upsetting peace and everything, that they're just like totally following orders. Like, I feel like there is some kind of message against that. And that in most narratives, when the good guy is given, orders they disagree with, the point is to question them and to, not just agree with everything you're told to do. So, agree or disagree?
I mean, sure. They also come off as evil because they, like, come to the real world and they're like, hey, want to destroy some people. Hey, we'll recruit Renamon. She seems, like, cool, but all you other losers, like, eh.
I guess it's overshadowed because, like, they come off as evil because they also come to the real world and like destroying things.
Yeah. They also come and they're like, we're going to take this over, which I think no matter what their actual motivation for trying to take over the world is pretty keyed into us as being like, oh yeah, that's kind of an evil thing to do.
Yeah. Okay, and this next comment, Ash, can you read it?
Food for thought. If Suzie is 7, TK and Kari were only a year older in Adventure. Would you say that they shouldn't have been there either because of their age? Just curious. Isn't Suzie younger than 7?
No,
I think
The problem with
7.
Suzie is that she doesn't act like she's 7.
She does not act like she's 7.
She acts like she's 3.
Yeah. I have met 7-year-olds.
But I think the other thing is that, like, I think even the kids' dementia, even the older kids' dementia, I don't think, quote unquote, should have been there, Like,
yeah.
Even what were they, 10, I think?
Yes.
9?
10, 11.
Okay.
No, 10, 11.
So, like, Joe was 11 and the others were 10?
I think actually Joe might have been 12.
Okay.
And also my information comes from pretty unreliable sources, like my memory of a Pojo magazine or something. Yeah.
I mean, Joe in Japanese. Are you talking about Japanese version or English version?
I was talking about the English version.
Oh, okay, that makes it more complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I know in Japanese, they're all in... Crap, now I don't even know. They're all in elementary school in Japanese.
Right.
And even Joe, who's a year older, is still in elementary school, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So that would mean... Yeah. And if middle school was 7, 8, 9, that means he has to be in 6th grade, and they're the main, like...
right, and 5th grade is 10, 11.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then
But I couldn't
TK...
tell you who was 10 and who was 11.
Well, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I think, multiple, like, Suzie is definitely told to be much older than she actually acts. And...
Yeah.
Which, I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel conflicted because, like, that is people definitely do act younger than their age times, right? Like, we shouldn't be like...
Yeah, and it might say something about, like, different rates of development or different kinds of development, but they didn't say that explicitly, so I think they just didn't understand what a 7-year-old is.
Yeah, that seems like the more... Yeah, we can't tell which of those two things it is, but it seems like the more plausible thing is they just...
Never met a child.
I mean, writing children is even harder than... But yeah, basically.
Writing children is hard, but this is a level of, like... This is really incompetent
really
writing.
Like,
if
Henry is 10, Suzie should be... I don't know. It's messed up.
Yeah, there's a way that you don't... Like, normally the hard thing about writing children is that you make them too precocious.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
Which is arguably what is happening with the 10-year-olds.
Right.
Really?
I mean, I think it definitely happens because, like, you want them to be relatable protagonists, and, like, if you make them actually make stupid decisions like they would as a kid, then you're like, oh, why'd they do this? And it's like, well, yeah, because they're not thinking perfectly. They have flaws in logic. They jump to conclusions.
I happen to think kids are actually a whole lot smarter than any adult gives them credit for, but...
I think the problem is that kids are smart and make smart decisions based on the information that you feed them. The information that you feed children is that, like, Santa Claus is real and the Easter Bunny exists.
Yeah,
and the Tooth Fairy will take your teeth.
I also think there's just, like, a level of things that you are aware of that keeps growing with age to a certain point, at least. So, like...
Yeah.
It's not that they're not smart, it's just that, like, might not be aware of things going on around them.
They're also just, it's a matter of inexperience, largely. And yes, kids are at a different developmental level. Like, fact. Your brain doesn't stop growing or developing until you're 25. But
At least it doesn't stop growing. And I was like, I guess it doesn't.
Stop growing.
Your brain never stops growing, bro. But, like...
So the problem is that they seem to have gone severely the other way with Suzie, which is like mind-boggling somehow.
Yeah, I don't believe she's 7. First of all, if she's 7, why isn't she in school?
Yeah, I'm actually not sure. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we should move on to Ask Podigious because we don't want to go on too long. Okay, so Ask Podigious, this is where you ask us questions. I think it's pretty straightforward. You can ask us at any point. We also, before we record feedback episodes, we'll ask on social media, but if you have questions you're not thinking of, or that you think of at any point, you can just send it to us and we'll add it to our running list. We're still getting through old questions a while ago, but we also like new questions, because some of these old questions are from almost literally a year ago when we started Tamers. Oh, God. It's one of the questions we might get to today is from September 26th, which is...
Good job.
Okay, wait. It's not September now, so that's a month away. Okay, I was thinking that was like in a couple days from now.
It's 11, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the first question was from Victor, who is one of the hosts of Digimon Rewatch, and this came from on Facebook. And the first part of the question was, Ashley, Asher, and Andrew, why didn't you have as visceral reaction to the scary eyes? Do you remember this?
I mean,
yeah,
I
like
do.
The scare, like Terriermon
and Lotmon.
Right?
Yeah. Called to task.
When you get to be my age, you see a lot of crap.
Eyes.
You see a lot of eyes. You see a lot of bad eyes. You watch as much anime as I do. I actually don't watch that much anime. I guess we need to talk to Andrew about that.
I watch more anime than all three of you combined.
It's true. I'm not sure you should be
probably
proud of that.
I don't know.
Wait, Andrew, do you watch anime or do you live in anime and watch real life?
Oh.
I think he watches anime because that involves sitting down and watching it.
It's a metaphor.
You're a metaphor.
That's what they called me in high school.
I mean, when I was watching the episodes, I was like, yeah, these eyes are weird and janky. There's nothing to say beyond that, though. It's Digimon. They saved all their animation budget for the last, 2 episodes.
No, they saved it for the... What would make sense is if they, coordinated poorly because of the evolution sequences. The biomesh sequences were actually really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Actually...
they definitely did.
I definitely loved Takado's at that, when I first saw it. The CGI doesn't age super well. Sukuyamon's is generally great and stays great, which is the curse of the non-CGI characters, but the curse of being better but also subpar, or put in a lower position but being better for it. Anyway, the second part of the question was, Jeff, how do you stand people who are okay with scary eyes? And I don't know. I don't trust any of you anymore.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
I'm a D-Reaper agent. Didn't you know that?
Okay, next question was, I think, from an anonymous person somewhere. I don't know. This was just kind of written in my notes without a source, so I don't know where it came from.
I think it's from an email, actually.
Oh. Anyway, the question is, must have been summer recently because of the... Anyway, it was, what does Digivolve your differences mean?
It means let your differences enhance you rather than hating on them and being terrible, racist, bigot people.
It also means, if you disagree with someone, talk about it and still disagree.
But disagree amicably.
Yes.
Amicable.
Don't be Terriermon.
There are worse things to be than Terriermon.
But don't be Terriermon from the commercial.
Oh, yeah, I forget how that went down. Wasn't he like, Mwah?
Oh, I don't remember how the actual commercial went down anymore.
Yeah.
Terriermon
It doesn't
was
matter.
complaining about Guillaumon, or was it Takato? I forget.
Oh, yeah.
Was it a commercial? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a commercial because it was like a post 9/11 teaching racial tolerance thing.
Is that what it's from?
Yeah, no, we just made it up, right?
No. I thought it was from the NFL special thing.
Oh.
Oh.
No.
No.
It'd be funny if Terry
No.
Bradshaw said it, though.
That'd be amazing.
It would.
But I wanted to talk about a related topic to this, which is the meaning behind Never Stop Digivolving, which I forget if we've ever talked about.
There was meaning behind it?
I mean, it fit really well in our first 2 seasons when the thong.
Hard sex piece.
Oh, boy.
We are all mature and awesome adults with jobs and careers.
Yep. People hire us to do things, you guys.
Anyway,
It's ridiculous.
the song that would play after that line would say "Never Stop," right? Never stop.
Never stop.
Yeah. Yes.
Never stop.
So it fell over that.
now.
But in addition, I think there are two different aspects. They obviously like never stop changing and improving and bettering yourself and getting better and learning and growing and changing and progressing forward. That's obviously, I think that's pretty clear. But the other aspect of it, I don't think is so clear, is just like, and something I think is kind of core to our handling of this podcast, and I think contrasts to a lot of the ways that some people in the Digimon community treat the dub and treat the sub and treat it like, why would you watch this corny thing? Like, obviously the sub is so much better. It's so much less corny and like, this is the better, purer version. And like, I think Never Stop Digivolving, it's also included that as like, never stop embracing the corny things like the word Digivolving. You know, like, instead of being like, Digivolve, that's a stupid child term. Like, I say evolve. I would want to evolve, not Digivolve. Like, I think part of enjoying things is embracing the childishness, is embracing your inner child, cliche phrase, whatever, but like embracing things that used to give you joy and how they can still give you joy, and not making the mistake I did when I was when I was 16 and was like, Digimon's lame. Pff, I don't like it. And
You're
when
lame.
Also when I didn't feel conflicted about saying the word lame. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's I guess actually we were actually surprised that I thought about it more, or were you joking?
I mean, I'm not shocked that you did that. I don't think any of us did that.
Yeah, no. I thought it had more to do with the bicycle thing. Like
The bicycle thing?
at the beginning of season 2, when Ty's like, now start pedaling. Actually, it's a carryover from first season too. Because they use the metaphor of getting back on the bicycle and keeping trying. And as Digivolving. So never stop getting back on that bicycle and, making that effort and remembering the joy of making that effort rather than what you just said.
Okay.
But it can mean lots of different things to lots of different people. That's the great part about made-up words.
We have different interpretations, which means we can digivolve our differences.
We can! And they both become the richer for it.
Exactly.
Okay, next question was from Riki's My Favorite on September 26th, back when we opened these questions at the beginning of the Tamer season. And it was, if you could exist in any of the season's worlds, human and or digital, which would you live in and why?
I thought we answered this one.
Did we? It sounds familiar now that I think about it, but I thought it was just because I saw it on the list.
Well, we could answer it again now that we've actually seen season 3.
No, it does seem very familiar. I wonder if I just never updated that.
Well, let's just answer it again. It's on the list. It's right here. Let's do it.
You can see if we contradict ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. You can see if our differences have digivolved within us.
Yeah.
I wonder if I said the same talk about what Never Stop Digivolving means I wonder if I said the what does
No, I think
Digivolve
that one
differences.
was new.
Okay, sure. I have no
I
idea.
think that one was new. Because I had no idea you were relating it to those things.
Huh, okay.
You want to start first, Jeff? See if you contradict yourself from the past.
I don't know. Okay, so...
Oh, I have an answer.
Okay.
I do. I want to live in the frontier digital world because they have Burgermon.
Are you going to eat them?
No! They feed you! They make food! You don't eat the Burgermon! That's rude! Oh my god!
I'm sorry, I don't know these things.
Go back to Primary Village and Digivolve your differences, Jeffrey.
I mean, we have different opinions. I like to eat the Digimon. You like to get fed by them.
No!
Well, part of me is tempted to say Frontier as well, but more because I'm like, I want to become a Digimon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't actually want to be a Digimon, but that's a cool concept.
I was going to say Frontier just because, first of all, they said human and or digital, but, the human worlds in all the seasons are pretty similar. Basically, it's our world.
We already live in those worlds.
Yeah, and, they are impacted by the digital world.
I mean, Jeff is like, yeah, I'd want to go live in Japan.
Well, that's true, I guess. I guess the adventure universe, does get fully integrated with Digimon eventually, so that's, I guess, different than the others, but that was always too cheesy, rosy-eyed for me. See, I was going to say Frontier Digital World just because it seems like the most fun digital world, even though it does get destroyed. It's the only one that actually gets entirely destroyed in the course of the season. But when it's not destroyed, it seems the most fun, as I recall. I'm curious if it'll actually live up to that, but...
Also, the Frontier world has Trailmon, which is the best.
It actually has a public transportation ecosystem as opposed to other.
Exactly. It's got public transportation. Why wouldn't you want to live there?
Also,
Philly.
I guess it is public transportation because you can just hop on the trail without paying them, right? I think that's how that works.
I mean, they have to agree to take you.
Oh, consensual. Oh.
Money is not generally a thing.
You mean digidollars aren't a thing?
For the I don't know.
Digidollars?
I don't remember what of that was real.
Andrew, do you have an answer? Favorite world?
Ash actually took it.
We all answered Frontier.
Yeah, we all answered Frontier. Well, after we watch Frontier, we're gonna be like,
no, but I was
I'm gonna get lost in a forest for half a season.
That doesn't happen.
You get lost in a forest for half a season. Gosh darn it, you guys!
I actually charted this out recently. They're in the forest for like 2 episodes.
It feels like they're in that forest for a season.
Yeah, it feels like they're in the forest forever.
Probably because they replayed those episodes so often.
I don't want to live in it because of the forest. I just want to be a Digimon, okay?
So Andrew's answer trains.
Trains.
But
then again, Tamers has one too, but...
It's a runaway.
Okay, yeah.
Also, they're in Crosswords, right?
Who cares about Crosswords?
Isn't there like a trail on graveyard in Crosswords or something?
That sounds terrible.
Yes, there was one.
So the Moncast, a fellow Digimon podcast, also covers Pokemon, asked us on Twitter if any of us are keeping up listening to their podcast. And there's another question too, but the first question, my response is I'm so behind on every podcast I listen to. At one point I was caught up for the first like 5 episodes, and then I guess it was Kingdom Hearts Unchained and the fact that I could play that while watching TV. So then, like, instead of, I normally listen to podcasts while playing things, but the fact that I could watch TV while playing this game has ruined my podcast consumption. And I can't listen to podcasts while working, but I can while working out. But I generally listen to focus podcasts, like podcasts that have a, like, really tight narrative that if you miss a couple seconds of, you'll get completely lost. So not discussion podcasts, but like story-driven, single person talking all the time things. And so I'm really caught up on those because that's what I can listen to while going to the gym. But all the other discussion podcasts, like all the Digimon podcasts, all the gaming, anime, tech podcasts, I'm just so behind on everything. Like months behind. It's bad.
I am similarly behind with the goal of catching up. Is that I'm also behind on I listen to far less podcasts than Jeff, but I have like 3 that I try to keep up with. Maybe 4, but I'm behind on all of them as well. So that speaks to the level of bad that I have reached. And then
Pod guilt is real.
It's just that at work, we're launching a bunch of stuff soon, so I've had a lot of due dates and crap. I actually need to do work and focus and stuff.
The second part of the question.
But I'm gonna get there.
The second part of the question was, how does covering Tamers compare to covering previous seasons? I guess there's a lot to unpack about that. I feel like generally it's been really enjoyable. On the other hand, the various factors that have led to it taking a year to produce and release is frustrating. But there are a lot of factors behind that. And it's a little bit sad to see a lot less interest in listeners compared to adventure seasons. It's also been, the series itself has been a little disappointing. You know, like we expect it to be so amazing, and I expect it to be so amazing. And it's still pretty good. I think it would still be what I would recommend if someone had not seen any Digimon before.
Really?
I think if people have seen other anime, I think it's might be the closest to other anime in terms of like the things that make it seem a little bit lackluster as a Digimon series. I think it would be more at home people who are used to serialized anime more.
I guess. I'd start them on adventure still, because to me that's the heart of Digimon, is the sort of fun of adventure. Yeah, there was never like one arc of Tamers that like really impressed me. So
throwing down.
Sorry, my recording died.
Oh. Just now?
I leaned down because I felt like there was something under my shoe and I wasn't sure what it was. I was afraid it was one of Ashley's ties. And leaned down, I unconnected my microphone. So let me just check and make sure everything is going. I think it's okay. Oh yeah, so any other thoughts about how Tamers compares to other seasons? How covering it in particular compares?
I definitely think the slowness was a detriment. I am also sad that people are less engaged with Tamers because they people used to get really heated about adventure and stuff that we would say, and people this season are just like, Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Tamers.
yeah, people are still like, great podcast, and it's like, oh, it really helps to hear that and stuff, but you don't get like, yeah, like, you said this about Tai, but no, like, Matt's actually better, no, in the original, Yamato has been, like, people were really invested in that stuff in a way that we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, like some people are like Ryo and Kazu are better in the original, but not to the same vehemence that about Tai and Matt.
Well, I mean, it's also just like volume. Like, we still really appreciate the number, like the fans that we do have and who reply and comment and stuff. But like, we're lucky when some of these episodes, like the last episode, has a couple comments on the main episode thread. And I think it's because we've opened up other ways for people to send in feedback than just comments like we had before.
Yeah.
And also the forum, I think, is not the best way to send in normal comments. And it's something I'm considering for Frontier, because one of the main advantages of the forum was having the fantasy draft in a way that would allow people to have like unique, like you had to reply to the threads, you could make sure that you were the only one picking that one team. And since we removed that restriction of like having to pick only one person pick the one team, we could open it up to social media. Also means we don't really need the forum so much. Anyway, so I'm considering that like maybe next season we would just have discuss again and have those instead of a separate forum thing, which would be easier to sign up for and stuff. And I don't know. It's something considering.
Forum was a mistake.
Yeah. I also hoped that people would use it for not just giving feedback on the podcast. I thought people might talk about other things related, like similar things like anime and stuff. And that happened a little bit initially, that died out pretty quickly. So yeah, I think also I had this like not so much hype, but like personal expectations about Tamers that I was like, this is the best season. It'll have the most to analyze, and it'll also require the most like. Well, it was like, this is the like where I particularly need to perform the best. Like I need to do the best analysis. I need to be the smartest. I need to think about it the most. I need to get the most out of it now. And if I don't, then I'm like missing the ball and letting everyone down.
It's dropping the ball, Jeff.
What did I say?
Missing the ball.
Well, I missed the ball in that phrase, so.
You clearly did.
But I think it's also that like I follow a lot of people in the anime community who are people that I wanted to get their respect and who, are mostly interested in Tamers and not the other seasons. And I was like, and if we put out great Tamer stuff, then they'll listen to that and then they'll respect me and stuff. And it's like,
wow,
that's not really true, because most of them don't listen to podcasts anyway, especially not a podcast about
like
Digimon.
Not a good reason to do anything.
I don't think that's true. I think that's like a reasonable, not like a reason to do something, but a reasonable goal to get people to like become friends with people who enjoy your work too. Okay,
but that's not how you phrased that.
Oh, I mean like to put out work that is so good that people that you respect also enjoy the stuff you put out and respect you in return. Does that make sense?
No. Because people it doesn't have to do with quality. It has to do with like, oh, I find this thing interesting. I'll talk about it with this person. Like rating things, just rating creative work that you do for free, for fun, is sort of just like, you're just sort of missing the point to me.
I mean, it's not, it's not about like, because I think it's more than just like sharing opinions and sharing tastes and stuff. I think there's, like, I hope our discussion is interesting to people, even if they don't agree with our opinions, But,
sure, but they still find it interesting. It doesn't have to do with being like quality.
I guess.
I mean, yeah, we want to put out the best quality, but I don't feel the need for that to be like, I don't feel the need to impress anybody.
I guess I hoped, which is, I realize a silly hope and respect, that people would be like, will listen to it and be like, this was so smart. I had to share it with everyone because it was so smart. And it's like, okay, yeah, looking back, I'm like, that was a really silly thing to think, to hope for, to expect.
I feel like we've always tried to tell you that this was silly. Listen.
Yeah, we have been telling you this from like day one. Negative day 3.
I mean, the main thing I learned is just that there are a lot of people who don't listen to podcasts regularly, or people who listen to one or two. And if they're not people who are like really devoted to Digimon, very little is going to convince them to actually listen to Digimon podcasts. Like, having people that they respect on as guests, probably not going to convince them. Covering the favorite season, not going to convince them. Covering their favorite season with super analytical, thoughtful discussion, super funny discussion, also not like even doing all those things is never going to guarantee people listen. But and I guess I have to think guarantee. Like, I think we should always strive to make the best thing and hope that means people listen to it. But like expecting guarantee of things was bad. I think I realized that pretty early on because I like was really building up the launch of the Tamer season and was like pretty early on. I think I adjusted my expectations and was like, okay, this isn't a huge thing. It's like, okay, we're doing Tamers now. It's okay.
Okay. My summary of us our actual coverage of Tamers is, I think we strayed in the beginning from being good Podigious, and then we wandered back to being better Podigious.
I agree.
Okay.
I feel that.
But in what ways do you think we strayed?
I mean, we had like ridiculously long recordings that were like unsustainable, and I don't know, we got bogged down in going slower and stuff. But then the last couple episodes have covered 5 episodes at a time, stuff like that. We put time limits on ourselves.
Which we're ignoring right now.
Yeah, it's fine. It's still not as long as the ridiculous ones, and we've recorded 2 episodes.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But in terms of the actual like material itself, outside of the like our own experience, I mean, the source material, I guess it didn't live up to the like extreme scrutiny I expect. Like I expected to be like, oh yeah, we'll like dive in, cover 3 episodes at a time, and that'll be super. There was always stuff to talk about, of course, but in retrospect, I don't know if it warranted so much detail.
No, the answer is no.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, you can send us questions for this at any point. Just, message us on social media and we'll add it to the list. And also keep an eye out for when we ask for questions before we record feedback next week. So now on to recommendation articulation, where we plug things we've been hugging and hug things we're going to plug.
No. I was like, don't say it.
where we plug things we're going to tug and then tug things we're going to plug?
No, don't. This is already the X-rated... No.
Hard sex piece.
You know what the hard sex piece things remind me of is the I don't know if this Google search will find it. Nope, it did not.
I don't want to know what you Google searched.
It's the pasting it in the Slack. So it'll be in the show notes. It's the poster in the background of Digivolving Strikes Back when
when
Matt and Sora are pictured by the paparazzi or whatever.
Yeah. I can't believe that.
Yeah, the shocking night thing. Wait, I can't say that. I need to edit that out.
You can't say it.
I didn't know that happened. Oh my god.
That's a thing, Asher.
I never looked at that thing before.
Oh man, that poster is everything.
Oh my god.
It fuels my being. Okay, so the thing I'm plugging this week is a show. I don't know how to describe it. It is kind of anime, but it's not anime. Andrew can probably guess what I'm going to say. It's a Taiwanese-Japanese puppet show production. It's like made with puppet. It's like a kind of like a midway between a tokusatsu show, like a Power Rangers-esque show, and an anime. It's called Thunderbolt Fantasy. It is by the writer of Madoka Magica and several other things.
And the new Godzilla movie.
What? Oh, is he writing it?
The new animated Godzilla movie.
Oh, animated. Oh, anyway. Urobuchi is his name, and also it has the music of, I can't remember, what's his name? Sawano, the composer of
Hiroyuki Sawano.
Attack on Titan, what other ones?
Kill la Kill.
Kill la Kill, Adno Zero. He is known for the really epic sweeping music. It's a show, it's made with puppets. It's not like stop motion, it's like actual puppeteering and stuff, and it like looks so hokey, but it's like also trying to be really epic, but it's also funny in how it is trying at times. And I think it's aware of how it's funny, how awkward they're moving, and how extremely uncanny valley it all is, because they look really pretty. It's also weird how similar to anime it is, but then you look at it and you're like, it's so vibrant. There are so many colors. It's like real life. Wait, it is real life. Wait, what?
I think it also has like really high profile voice actors in it and stuff too.
Yeah, I think they're pretty famous seiyuu. And yeah, the story I think is like a pretty, I don't know, it's not like super engaging. It's like a variant retelling of Seven Samurai story, like getting together a ragtag group of 7 people to go on a mission and they don't all get along, blah, blah, blah. But it's just so weird and it's strangely compelling. You should check it out. It's on Crunchyroll. Yeah.
Great. Okay. I'm going to plug the Fitbit app, which I'm sure most of you have heard of. It's you get a watch and it tracks your steps and stuff, and I haven't had a working watch in a while, so that's why I got it, actually. But it's actually really great for keeping track, like being mindful of what you sort of do with your body and how much you sit and how much you eat. It's not, I would not recommend it to people who have difficulty keeping themselves from obsessing over things. It kind of exacerbates that, but I feel really healthy lately. It's been really great. And even though I had like goldfish and a banana for dinner tonight, I don't feel worried about, like, gaining 5 pounds from it. It keeps you moving. It's great paired with Pokemon Go, I must say.
Doesn't that eat the battery?
Yeah, I have to charge after I go for a run, but it's doing great things for me, and I have a watch. Yay! What else can I say about it? I guess that's it. Keeps track of how much you drink, too.
How does it do those things? Do you have to enter in all the eating?
You have to enter it in. And it doesn't punish you if you don't do something. It just, keeps track of it. It won't, like, call you a fatty fatso at any point, ever. Or, like, you didn't hit this goal. Boo! No, it just keeps track of it and gives you a star when you make a goal. And you can challenge people if you have friends with the Fitbit app, which I don't.
Nope.
So if you do, be my friend. Bye.
My Garmin VivoFit is very disappointed in me for sitting for so long.
Yeah.
Much red bars. I'm gonna die. That's basically what it's saying.
You can find the full show notes of this episode by going to podigious.com/310.5. You can leave us feedback in the comment section on the site, or you can just let us know your thoughts on Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, Reddit, email, With the Will, SoundCloud, YouTube, Skywriting, Foreboding Prophecies, or color-coded smoke signals. They don't have to be color-coded, though. You can use the new dot matrix style thing where they don't need to fly all around in circles. They can just have several planes in a row. Yeah, you can use that too.
Okay. Podigious is made possible with the support from our awesome Patreon, including Amanda Angelmon, Andre Leducmon, David Graumon, Eric Angemon, Jack Santa Agumon, Joe Keto, Justin Blame Davis, Kai Lunamon, Kaiser Washi, Sam Kruwagamon, and Stevie Padamon.
If you want to support the show on Patreon, you can get some cool rewards, like access to our private Slack chat group for $1 a month, monthly stickers for $5 a month, and early episodes for $10 a month. Reaching our next goal will allow us to make podcast episodes about movies related to Digimon, so check out patreon.com/podigious to help us out. Want to make a one-time donation to the podcast instead? Our PayPal is www.paypal.me/podigious. You can find the link to PayPal and our Patreon on podigious.com.
You can find Podigious on Twitter, Tumblr, or Facebook to keep up with the Digimons and get funny images and GIFs related to the show. If you don't like how we pronounce GIF, then become a Patreon so you can vote on how we have to pronounce it. You can find me on Tumblr as Phantom Cellist F. Ashley?
Find me on Twitter at AshMcD00.
Jeff?
I'm Jeffly Jeff on Twitter.
And Betrayer of My Soul?
You can find me at Asher Dashery on Tumblr.
Our Calamon artwork is by the awesome Mary Cagle, aka Cube Watermelon, on Tumblr and Twitter.
Share the podcast with your friends who are also hard sex beasts. And don't share the podcast with your friends who like Ebon Wumon.
And join us tomorrow as we get Blast Mode beautiful. Bye.
Bye.
And remember, never stop Digivolving.
全て始まりそれが答えたのはラピザピがすいま全速力で未来も今も駆け抜けろ
I'm recording now.
Do some singing.
Got it memorized. No. Got it memorized. Got it memorized. Got it. Got it. Got it memorized. Got it.
I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna walk over to your closet with the spider in it, not think about the spider, and just punch you. Actually, I'm gonna find the spider and then just put it on you.
Funny. You're kind of funny.
Bullseye, baby!
How did Brian Peacock really remember that line? Like, oh my god.
It must have been so painful to say.
Yeah. Oh, gee. Like, especially if it was early on in the season, it must have been like, I have this great gig at this really popular show that's like on all these Fox Kids ads and stuff. I had to say Bullseye Baby? Like, what?
That is not the worst thing he's had to say is staccato.
I thought you were going to say something else. I was like, what have you seen him in, Ash?
Nothing? Does he exist in other things? I don't know.
Wow.
Look, no, I'm not saying this as a comment on his career. I'm saying this as I have only watched Digimon. That is what I am saying. I am saying Momentai.
That was actually a mistake. I hit a random key on my keyboard, and apparently that keyboard lines up with the soundboard things. Like, this one is apostrophe? Where's the apostrophe underwear?
Oh no!
There's nothing like that in the new JoJo's. I can't think of any things people say. Anyway. Let's go.
Your password. You can use mine to get on the internet.
Podigious.
Welcome to Podigious, episode 310.5, Absolute Feedback Apocalypse.
We can! At the end, they both become the richer for it.
Are you saying you hate poor people, Ashley? Is that why you like richer people better?
Did you just call me Ashley?
I think yeah.
Wait, no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You will find out when you listen back.
But I said, are you sure it just was one of those like Ash things?
No, it was definitely Ashley.
I probably said like Ash and then another word.
I think you said Ashley.
Okay, whatever.
You said Ashley.
Okay, so, and Ashley and Andrew... Wait, Andrew, do you have something to plug? Do you have, like, Watch a Million Anime?
I don't know what to plug, though.
Well, anyway, there's probably an outtake section, but anyway, Ashley and Andrew don't have plugs because we just recorded 313, so in one sitting, it's kind of with a break. Anyway, it's confusing, and time is confusing and relative, and Einstein? Time travel? Okay,
You can find Podigious on Twitter, Tumblr, or Facebook to keep up the Digimons and get funny images. You can find Podigious on Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook to keep up with the Pokemons and get funny imaging and gifs related to the show.
If you don't like how we said Pokemon,
if you can teach my brother how to say images,
we're gonna be running a new poll where we ask our Patreon if we want to switch to a Pokemon podcast. So
yeah.
Oh God, don't, because they'll make us do it.
You can find Podigious on Twitter, Tumblr, or Facebook to keep up with the Digimons and get funny images and gifs related to the show. If you don't like how we pronounce GIF, then become a Patreon so you can vote on how we have to pronounce it. You can find me on Twitter.
Oh, yeah? Yeah?
You can find me on Tumblr as cough.
Can you find him me at Astra's funeral, apparently.
Did he fake it?
No. Also, would you even come to my funeral?
Wow!
What?
Whoa!
What? Of course I would go to your funeral.
I'm just asking. You never come visit me.
Dark.
There's a bit of a difference.
Dude, if you die, get all your stuff.
That's not canon.
Actually, Asher wrote in his will that all the stuff goes to me.
It actually goes to the try giveaway. All the stuff.
I don't think the try giveaway will want any of my stuff. None of it is Digimon.
It's okay. Diversity is good.
If you want several Pikachus, sure.
Where are we in the script?
We're on Andrew.
You can find me on
Twitter. I hardly know her.
Hey! And don't share the podcast with your friends who like Ebon Wumon, which I cannot pronounce. Just like
Ebon Wumon.
Things.
It's better than Beelzemon.
Shut up.
Beelzemon.
Why are you making fun of me?
It's not like what do you? It's like what's the word you're saying? Like
I don't know.
This is like dazzle, I guess.
Give them the old beazzle dazzle.
And join us tomorrow as we get Blast Mode Beautiful. Bye.
It's coming out tomorrow. Bye.
I mean, that's the goal. That it comes out on Tuesday, and the next one comes out on Wednesday. The feedback episode should
Good
just
luck.
be
It's not like it's.
Oh no, yeah, no, it's not Monday because people aren't listening live. Ashley,
I get confused. It's all very confusing.
Nothing's confused about this, Ashley. There's nothing confused about this at all. We're just recording 310.5 after 313 about 310 before we release 311 tomorrow, which is actually Wednesday, which is not Monday.
Jeff, I'm not even caught up on our podcast.
Do you actually listen?
Sometimes. I like to go back sometimes and listen to all the bloopers you put at the end. Those are my favorite.
Those are the funniest parts.
I think everybody just wants to listen to our blooper reel sometimes.
It's definitely the best part of the podcast.
Oh, why are we even talking about Digimon?
I don't know.
Talk
I could
like
just
normal
talk.
humans.
Yeah, I could blooper all day.
Yeah, what is it?
Blooper? I hardly know her.
Because I found a way to just like search. There's on OS 10 you have like a local dictionary. You can I just searched the dictionary for everything that ends in ER. So
seriously?
And there are
You can make anything end in ER.
accelerometer. I hardly knew her. Yeah, that is the problem. That's why there are like 11,000 words. Archer. I hardly knew her.
That could be pretty annoying.
Yeah, I can't think of any ones. I was like considering making a Twitter bot that would just tweet out random ones of these, and they would find the great ones. And Bushwhacker, I hardly knew her.
Well, that one's kind of...
Yeah, that's a little too explicit. Or a different body part, if you know what I mean. Calligrapher, I hardly knew her. So when does like school stuff start up?
Next week, the 29th.
Next week? Oh.
Ah.
That's sooner than I thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Sooner than I thought, too.
I guess. Wait.
What?
I hate to say it. Is he gonna say? What does he say?
You're lucky. Looks like what?
Oh, here it is.
Looks like my summer vacation is over.
Yeah, I was thinking about that quote recently. Then I felt like awful about myself.